we need to do more than just the message. We need to act. And the foundation is the only one that's been acting. Here is something to consider. While our brothers are focused on casting doubt on my integrity and reputation and destroying the foundation, the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council remains a name and a logo only. My sources tell me that there is no organizational structure, no financial stream, no representatives, no defined and established policy goals and objectives. That's where their focus should be. And by the way, the task force is still waiting to become a viable and influential organization. The foundation is the only organization that presents a challenge to the government. It has been said, idle hands are the devil's workshop. My brothers, stop being idle. There is much work to be done for and on behalf of the people of Jamaica. Collectively, we may not collaborate, but we, all of us, remain firmly united in the single-minded purpose of holding governments accountable. Brothers, the Jamaican people are depending on us. Let's get busy. That's my opening. And then from the opening, I'm going to segue to talking about the people that I've been associated with. But I'm going to yield that because I want you to understand the psyche. I want you to understand the mentality, not just the action. I want you to understand the thinking, the process, and whether or not some people are of sound mind or they're just devious. I'm going to present you with facts, but I'm going to yield to my colleagues at this point.
Well, Mr. Rattigan, this is most considerate of you. Thank you very much. And I will seize the opportunity to welcome everyone. This is Jamaica 411. Thank you so much for joining me, keeping me company as usual. Thank you to everyone who has been supporting this channel. Thank you to my esteemed and loyal subscribers and viewers. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. And please remember to leave your comments. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And I usually, because I might forget, I usually give the video a thumbs up, especially if I know that the person is always giving me quality stuff. All right, so what am I going to be talking about today? Well, the saga and the drama that is going on in that treacherous set of people in the diaspora making allegations, particularly that they're acting on our behalf. I don't know. I never asked them to act on our behalf on anything. Did you? Write in the comments and tell me if you did ask them, because they said that they're doing what they're doing on our behalf. I mean, far as I know, we are big people, we're not children. And the children are the only ones who don't have any choice when it comes to matters of, whatever it is in our best interest. So these individuals who have decided to make other places, United States, their home, they have choice, and I'm a big people, you see them age, except for Isaac who lives here and works here. I don't think the mother said live here at all. Certainly not Rattigan. Don't know about Master Stew, and I don't know about Mr. Prezi. Right? But my impression is that they are members of the diaspora. They are members of the diaspora. They have an option and they have a choice. You see, like come here and you live here. All right, some of us don't have no choice, but some of us have options. And we decide that we're going to live in Jamaica and tough it out. Corrupt government and all, crime and all, hardships and all, high food prices and high cost of living and all, we are tough it out. Because for us, our fellowshipping together as Jamaicans is more important to us. In other words, no, we're no better than yard. That's why we are here, all of us. When we want ackee, we can go get the ackee and so on. We just love that about Jamaica. The people, our people. So we decide to stay. And they have an option, far as I know, Rattigan is retired, and yet he has not elected to come and live with us. But him claim now that he want to help us and do something on our behalf. Right? Don't come ask me no question. Gone out, gone demonstrate against the country to embarrass the government. Apparently that is what they think they're doing. And we who live here are expected to live with the consequences of their actions. Turning off investors, turning off visitors. Any one of the Jamaican people who want to come home to live hearing about this, hearing about that, you would think that it's just like what the white people them do, you know. When them come and them going to feature anything in Jamaica, them go Riverton City dump. Them now go show you the nice hype places where the people live a big life, you know, no. Right? So anybody would think that people live on dump in Jamaica. Well, that's what they're doing. They're highlighting, going out into the public, highlighting all that is wrong with the country. So anybody who was considering coming home now with their life savings, you know, most of them when they left, their intention was always to return. When they hear about the hospital, this and hospital that, they're not telling them that they're private hospitals, you know. And they're not telling them about the good things that are happening in the hospitals every day. They're only highlighting the bad things for political reason. It's all politics, right? We suspect that Bunting and Golding is behind them because that is how they are. They are treacherous. And their intent is to bring down the economy, put pressure on the people so that the people, when the next election come round, put them in power. And they must know what they want to get into power for, because Proven ain't doing too well at all. And that is their saving grace. So these people are imploding, as one would expect when you have a bunch of Judases and traitors associated together. They were never combined and came into their association with any good intention. And that is why they're falling apart. And how we believe and why we think Bunting is behind this, because that's exactly the same way he set up his Rise United movement. So Bunting took a bunch of people, mainly comrades. And what did the comrades have in common? They all hated Dr. Peter Phillips for one reason or another. And he played upon them. He also took some persons who had problems with their MPs who happened to be supporters of Dr. Peter Phillips and could not be persuaded not to support Dr. Peter Phillips. And then you have the sexual deviants and persons with all sorts of nefarious background who were ambitious but would never have seen or been elevated to any position in the party because of who they are. These individuals, they sought out and promised them positions and put them to work in the most treacherous side of the business, because these are the people you can rely on more than anyone else. And so these are the people he put together. He also recruited labor rights because he needed people to curse the authentic PNP who supported Dr. Peter Phillips under the guise that they were PNP people and that the party was divided and that the party didn't want him, and so on and so forth. And it's the same thing that you see happening with this particular group of men, mostly men. Yes, that is another sign that Bunting is behind them, whether they know it yes or no, because that's him, very tricky fellow, is that they are united against the government. Somebody put them together, right? And some of them are PNP, some of them are disaffected JLP. And so in order to get them to demonstrate against the country, he had to pick some persons who were PNP people. So you see, it's the same technique and strategy that he used for taking over the PNP. That is what he's now attempting to use to take over the government. I have no doubt in my mind that Peter Bunting is behind this, right? Bunting and Golding. But, of course, um, the whole thing is falling apart because of what Rattigan is failing to do. He has been asked to give account of the donation that he has been receiving, and he's been stalling, and eventually what he has done is split the group in two. I think he deliberately left the groups claiming that he and them had falling out, or he and them had major differences of opinion. It's all about the money. It's all about the money and him trying to save his reputation. But based on what I read in the IRS, the laws pertaining to the 501(c) organizations, which is what his foundation was registered under, if he is supposed to keep, he is supposed to have accounts that anybody can see. Once they ask for it, he's supposed to present those accounts of the money received and the money spent. And evidently, he has no such thing. And if this is the case, it appears as though he's in trouble with the law. So he's swimming out in the deep blue sea, drowning, and he's trying to sink the other organization in order to protect himself. And these persons over here, they believe in him so much, right? Without understanding, or not prepared to understand, or probably don't care, right? Blind faith, I suppose, that he's doing something wrong based upon what I read, right? And also his foundation, which is supposed to be a charity foundation, appears not to be acting like a foundation at all. They're talking about Jamaican politics and holding Jamaican government account. What that has to do with charity? We don't know of a dollar being sent to Jamaica to help anybody, but they did claim that they reported the island or the government for human rights violation, and that is covered under the 501(c). But let me not go any further. Let me just allow you to hear what it is that Kevin Stew had to say. And brothers and sisters, subscribers and viewers, did he have things to say? You need to listen carefully to what he said. Most interesting, and I think perhaps this is the most interesting thing that came out of that broadcast on Saturday. Let's listen.
Kevin, because I know you have a show coming up soon.
Greetings and salutations, first of all, let me tell people in out there in TV and radio land, when this matter, I touched on it last week, when this matter came to my ears, it hurt me to my core because of what I saw forming, what the question that I had as a child had a method of getting an answer. And when I heard this bit of information with these grown men bickering and holding malice and causing disruption, I was firstly at a loss for words, and then really upset. And someone just commented that they've never seen my face look like this. Don't worry, it's soon fixed. It will fix by 8 o'clock. I give him my word. The whole idea of some of these accusations that you heard Ratty mention just now is really ludicrous. And it is very unfortunate that individuals that had been drawn in so close are the ones to go ahead and put out some of these things. Now, of course, we're always told to keep your friends close and your enemies closer. And it is always the ones that are closest to you that are the ones that hurt you. Now, you have to question which one is friend and which one is enemy by the time you get hurt. Did the friend show his true colors and now shows as enemy, presents as what they are? What is it? So, I have been getting messages, I have been sent links to other broadcasts, and I've looked at some of them, and it even upset me more, because when an individual has not taken the route as to say, all right, let me pick up the phone and call and say and give my side of what is going on, but you're going to send me a link to a broadcast for me to find out when you can reach me directly, I have a problem with that. Needless to say, I haven't been reached directly by anybody but Will. So, leave that, take that however you want. With talking with Rattigan and hearing about some of these people who have donated, and I'm pretty sure Will's gonna get into that a little bit deeper, but let me say this. Anybody that has donated to any non-for-profit prior to this, tell me when you have gone back to say, I want back my money because I don't like what you're doing. Tell me when. So you're going to take up yourself, and because you can reach out to the person who is spearheading an organization like this, you're going to reach out to them and say, boy, I want back my money. What did you donate? You can't even write it off. But you want back your money, and you're going to raise Cain about the donations that you have made. For what? So that you can get some attention? Make it make sense. So, those people, to you, I say, God go with you. I have nothing much more to say to you, and God go with you. Because when you can tell me that you have called up Red Cross and Salvation Army and Food for the Poor because you didn't like what they were doing after you made their donations and asked back for your money, then you can come and talk with me. So it's not just the people who have been spearheading this that I have issues with right now. I have issues with the people that say, you know what, I am supporting this, but go and turn around and say, I want back my money. But guess what? Yes, Olive, this too will pass. And I didn't really say a whole lot about it last week because Will said, you know what, allow them. Them do them thing, allow them. And I left it. But since Will come out and say he's going to say a few words, I make sure I'm going to put it in mind. I'm not a part of the organization in the sense that I'm on any letterhead or anything, but I have been here. I have watched, I have seen, and I have been privy to some discussions. I've been involved in some discussions. Don't turn around and say people in this organization, the One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation, have been living lavish lifestyle because from donations, when those same people are the ones that have taken the money out of their pockets to make certain things happen. You don't talk, if you're going to talk the whole thing, don't just talk about peace side. And so you have gone out and started spreading these lies. I won't even dress it up and call it propaganda. It don't make sense. You not tell lie. For what? What you stand to gain from it? And some of you out there talking certain things and not realizing that if people were to talk on you about some truths that are supported by documents, you know there's no hole that you can run, go and hide in that is deep enough for you. Come on, man, do better. Panel, I take a pause right now.
And a well-deserved pause too, because you said some very interesting things. But before I come to you, Mr. Stew, I guess your name is Stuart. Hope you don't mind me calling you Stewie. Yes, ma Stewie. Let me go back to what Rattigan said, because Rattigan had his comments written down, which means that he would have considered what it is that he wanted to say, written it down, rehearsed it, went over it again, and satisfied himself that this is what he wanted to say. So what he has to say is very important. Not that what you said, Stewie, is not important, but yours is very revealing. But let me go back to Rattigan. Now, Mr. Rattigan said, we need to act, and the foundation is the only one that's been acting. So, by way of explaining what he meant, he went on to say, here is something to consider. While our brothers are focused on casting doubt on my integrity and reputation and destroying the foundation, again, very emotive words designed to rile up his supporters, that these wicked brothers are trying to destroy the foundation, and all they're doing is asking him when do the money when collect, which is their right to do, especially if they're donors. Anyway, he went on to say, let me start again. It says, while the brothers are focused on casting doubt on my integrity and reputation and destroying the foundation, the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council. Anybody remember that council? It was something that the government of Jamaica was either running or sponsored, but it was not registered. So they decided as one of their first acts is to take it out of the hands of the government of Jamaica, thief it, basically. They didn't do it in secret. They said they couldn't register it. They were going to register it, and by that means prevent the government from using it. Now, I imagine if the government is setting up any diaspora council in the United States, it's in order to reach out to our people, to encourage them to invest, encourage them to come home, and encourage them to see what they can do, which would be to the benefit of the people of this country, right? I know that I heard that PJ set up one. I don't know if it's the same one and it had a name change or when this particular body was set up. But they decided, these so-called Jamaican patriots, that they're trying to give them, matter of fact, they never call themselves a Jamaican patriot. They never call themselves Jamaican patriots, right? But they are there claiming that they are acting on our behalf. So them say, and the government is the only one who is managing the economy and managing the country. This body was set up for the benefit of the country and the economy and the people. Because when our diaspora people come here and invest, people get work. And they decide that they were going to take it away from us, or we didn't take it away from, to make a point. So here is what Mr. Rattigan is saying about the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, which they went and took away from the Jamaican government. Right? He said, the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council remains a name and a logo only. What he means by that, he went on to explain. My sources tell me, which I don't know why his sources should tell him anything since he was in the organization too. But maybe he thinks he's smart and everybody is fool. And I have to admit, black people, when it comes to manipulation, they're fool bad. They don't know when people are playing them. So by claiming that his sources tell him that, I guess he's anticipating that those people, Herb and what's the other fellow's name, Francis, will be wondering who is the mole that is telling him things, right? I expect that is what he anticipates. And then they start to bicker and mash up themselves over there, so, and mash up that, right? I don't know, but he says, my sources tell me that there is no organizational structure. What does that mean? Let's find out. According to this definition, it says an organizational structure is a system that outlines how certain activities are directed to achieve the goals of an organization. These activities can include rules, roles, and responsibilities. The organizational structure also determines how information flows between levels within the company. So you understand what that is? That's talking about your president, your vice presidents, your managers, your supervisors. That is a structure. So these people went in what we'd call in Jamaica, I don't know what it is, it was a strategy to take over this organization. And to date, this occurred, I think, sometime earlier in the year. They took it over, and what have they done with it? Not a damn thing. No organizational structure, according to him, right? And if you don't have no organizational structure, what do you have? He went on to say that there are no financial stream. What does that mean? A financial stream is a system of money, credit, etc., especially with respect to government revenues and expenditures. What are they talking about then? Financial stream, I mean to say they don't have any money, any source of money that is coming in. And I suppose he actually meant income stream, because the income stream says it's a regular supply of money that comes from something such as an investment or business. So he's saying that they have no money. That's basically what he's saying. They don't have any account, I would assume. They don't have any website to or to ask people to donate money to them. He has that. What he needs to tell us, since he brought up the subject of organizational structure, is what is the foundation's organizational structure. We know of him and we know of Richard. Both of them are on the board. But who else is in the foundation apart from him and Richard? And he alone handles the financing, right? He alone can draw a check. There is no there is no check or balances in that. Check and balance, you know that in accounting, where you have at least two persons can sign off on any expenditure from an entity. He doesn't have that, him alone, right? He went on to say that there are no representatives. No, I don't understand that. What do you mean by there is no representatives? I would expect that once they establish and register the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, they would have had board members. I don't know if he's talking about outside of the board members, there are no representatives. He said also there are no defined and established policy goals and objectives. The mission statements and these are and other policies that would guide their action. He's saying that don't exist, right? Now I don't know how that can be, because, well, I guess they only have their articles, but not a mission statement. What is he saying? He's saying that these band of traitors, including himself, took the organization away from us, and having taken it away, they have done nothing with it. They're not trying to make it do anything. They just spitefully went, see them could shake up the government, which is shaking us up, right? And take away the organization from them. So they now are expected to be cut off from the diaspora. So they can't get a means of communicating with the million diaspora, I think they said was in the US, or either they were members or they were persons who were they could reach, right? And they took that and they did nothing with it. That's what Rattigan is telling us. When you talk about bad mind and spiteful, and these are supposed to be people who are acting on our behalf, you figure that one out. But while you're figuring it out, you help me with this puzzle. Are these people who are former Jamaican citizens, because I believe they are citizens of the United States now, right? Suddenly came up out of the blue and decide that they need to come rescue us, like, I don't know who, Don Quixote, fighting the windmill. And in helping us, they are taking away an organization from the government that the majority of the people who voted put there. Now, are these friends or are these our enemies? I would say to you that these people are our enemies. They have to be our enemies, because it's only an enemy that does what these people are doing. They are an enemy, and they're an enemy of the people of this country, pretending that somehow that they are saviors. Typical white man strategy. That man Rattigan is working for an entity in the United States. Which one? I don't know. But you know that these white people don't like to see when black people strive. And I don't know if them think we're striving or whatever it is that they are up to. If them see where they can mess us up, they will. All when they don't have no reason to. All when poor Haiti has struggled, they will still go down, they're going to make it worse. Right? Who is Rattigan working for? And then these, of course, President and Stewie, they're just following him. They believe he's a good person. You go and you take the organization and you did nothing with it. And then you come to tell us now about your source told you. Your source not telling nothing. You knew because you were in it. Then he went on to say, so that is one organization that is supposed to be leading protests against Jamaica, right? He went on to say that the task force, which I believe is Herb Nelson's organization now, some security task force or something, is still waiting to become a viable and influential organization. The viability would now suggest that they're struggling also for financing. So according to him, it is his organization alone that is in a position to take the government to task. And these men over there are trying to fight it down and bring it down. That's what he's saying, by attacking his reputation, as if he's innocent in all of this and they're just wicked. Now, what is startling about this commentary of his is that what he's actually revealing, maybe he doesn't recognize what he's doing, but what he's actually revealing is that those two organizations have no money at all, but yet them a lead demonstration. Where the money come from? If those organizations, especially the task force, don't have money to organize and bus people from here and there and fly themselves up to New York and fly themselves up to Washington from all over the United States, where did the money come from? And you, Wilfred Rattigan, also said that you had to take money out of your pocket to finance some of the things. So you don't have no money either. That's why you have to take it out of your personal pocket. So the donation that is coming in is not enough to do what Uno want to do. Therefore, where did that money come from? Who it is that is financing you boys to do what you're doing against the country? Who else would be doing that more than Bunting and Golding? That is their style. Is it Bunting and Golding? Which one are you going to admit? None of you can admit it. You know why, Rattigan? Because whoever it is that is sponsoring you is using a go-between. That person that is giving you the money is getting that money from somewhere else, and we in the resistance suspect it must be Bunting and Golding. Who else in Jamaica would do that? Which businessman in Jamaica would want to see the country fail when he has a business to run to make profit? Which business person would want to see the country fail? Which business person want to see Mark Golding in Jamaica House and Peter Bunting? What is in it for them? If you see any businessman coming to give you money, Rattigan, it's not their money. They're acting on behalf of somebody else. And we suspect it's Bunting and Golding because that is their style. They have to use a go-between because they cannot make, not you, they cannot let us know that that is what they're doing because that would be high treason. Then could be hanged for it. So, whereas in the Rise camp, when they had these bloggers out there nastying up the members of the PMP, they could associate with them and have dinner with them and have celebrations with them because that is one thing they would never associate with you. They would never associate or cause to associate the idea that they are behind you. But we in the resistance, we understand the Bunting and Golding's playbook because we've seen it. They're not very bright, you know. They can manipulate people because, as I said, black people very easy to manipulate because they don't know when they're being played, right? But they have limitations, and that's what we call the playbook. Insofar as Mr. Stewie is concerned, his revelation is most astounding. He is revealing just how much trouble Rattigan and the foundation are in. The people want back their money. And he's trying to shame them for asking back for the money. But why are they asking back for the money, Stewie? They're asking back for the money because they are hearing things and they're asking Rattigan to give an account, and Rattigan is not giving them account for the money and the monies that they had donated. Now, you seem to be giving the impression that once they give the money, they can't get it back. Well, let us investigate and see if you're right. Let us see if the people are correct. They said they want a refund. Let's see if they can really get a refund. Let's check. So here is a question that was asked. Can I get a refund of my donation to a charity? And this was referring to a charity that was set up to raise funding for the families, I do believe, I believe it was a mass shooting. They called it the One Pulse Foundation. And then they went belly up. The people wanted to know now if they can get back their money. And this is what this particular organization, which rates charities, had to say about it. There are lots of rules and laws in place that dictate that charities have pretty narrow choices when it comes to how to distribute restricted funds or unrestricted funds. Restricted funds now would be those funds that when you tell the people that you want the money, you want a donation to do something specific, that is a restricted fund. That means to say that you can't do nothing else with the money other than what you said you're going to do with it. All right? So they went on to say this. Those donations have to be used for what the charity says they will be used for. You hear that? Once you take people's donations, say you're going to do this with it, whether you're going to have a protest or you're going to use it for some legal purposes to sue government, if that is what you tell them you want the money for and they give it to you on that basis, that money has to be used for what the charity says they will be used for. And if they are not, there's typically a contract in place that requires the charity to refund those donations, or that otherwise outlines what happens if the charity fails to fulfill its promises, right? So, as long as you are using that money for what it was that was intended in the first place, you don't have to return anybody's funding, right? But if when you got the money, you did not use it for what it was intended, and the people hear That's what you have been doing. They are able to and are entitled to demand their money back. So, Mr. Stewie, the people can ask Rattigan back for their money. Donors, if you want your money back, you can ask Mr. Rattigan back for the money. Because up to this point, he cannot show you what he did with the money. He has no grounds because he cannot show you what he did with your money. However, if in September, as he promised, he can show you that he did this and that with the money, then you don't need to be asking him back for it. All right? But I would recommend that you write to him at the email that is on his website. Make sure whatever you put is in writing and tell them that you'd like to have a refund because you understand that the money was not used for the purpose for which you intended. But let me point out this, there's a caveat. You see, all of you who were giving money at that protest, cash money dropping in boxes, you're not going to be able to claim that back. Why? Because you have no proof or any evidence that you donated $100 or $200. So the only persons with real evidence that the money was donated would be those who would have paid through the website, through the Zelle, through the Cash App, and directly to the account, or pay by check. For those of you who turn up at the protest and you pay by check, you will have that check as evidence that you had paid the money, and so you can demand it back. So for the rest of you who have been giving out your cash money, I don't think you can claim it back because you don't have any evidence. So just don't harass the people. Maybe you can cuss them and tell them you want to see the accounts, but to say that you want the money back, that's not going to be possible. My advice to all of you donating to any charity, do not give them your cash money, especially if you don't know anything about them. They're new. Yes, you can do that with Red Cross and you can do that with the others because they are well established and they have accounts that you can go and check. But in Rattigan's case, it appears though he has none. So that is my suggestion to you. When it comes to this account that you're going to see at the end of September, I want you to understand something very clear. It is very, very likely that the accounts will only, may only consist of what was passed through the bank account. It doesn't mean that will be the case because if they collect the money from you at the protest, it's a matter for them to write down how much money they got and what they spent the money on. If that was not done, then you can just cough up that money as lost because they won't be able to account for that either. If there is nothing written down that I got 6,000 today, I spent 4,000 out of all of that for all the various expenses. I have 2,000. I go put the rest in the bank. If you don't have that account, that thing written down, you can get mixed up and lose a lot of money that way, right? So until when you see the account, do not be too surprised if you see mostly money that is accounted for from the account. By right, if they receive money at the protest, that should also be separate and apart from an accounting point of view from money that they receive through the bank account so that they can account for it properly. So you just have to wait and see what's happening. But that's the information I brought for you today. It was supposed to be short, and my word, I just happened to notice what Rattigan said before, and I had to address that at the moment. So that's what I have for you today. But there is still more, lots more. And tomorrow I'll have some more very interesting information for you from that one broadcast of 6 hours that they did on Saturday. So, again, thank you so much for your time. I know you've spent a lot of time with me, and time is our most precious commodity. So, don't think I don't appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Um, Also, please leave your comments. So, until next time, you take good care of yourself and walk good.